All right, we are on chapters 5 and 6 of Tales from the Odyssey. And let's begin. Odysseus stood and faced the crowd. "Where should I begin?" he said. "I have such a long, sad tale to tell. First, I will tell you my name. My name is Odysseus. My home is Ithaca, a bright and beautiful island. The island is low and the water around it can often be rough, but there is no sight more beautiful than one's own home. I have not seen my island or my family for 20 years, not since I sailed away to fight the Trojan War." Odysseus went on to tell how the Greeks had fought for 10 years in faraway Troy, and how their mighty fleet had set sail for home after winning the war. He told how a terrible storm had driven his 12 ships off course and sent them to the land of the Lotus Eaters, then to the cave of the hideous Cyclops monster. Odysseus told about the horror of seeing the giant one-eyed monster eat his warriors alive, and how he had led his men in a daring escape by hiding in the fleece of the monster's rams. Odysseus told how the wind god had given him a bag of wind to help speed his ships home, and how, when they were within sight of Ithaca, his men had disobeyed his orders, and opened the bag while he was sleeping, releasing a terrible gale that sent their ships back across the sea, far away from home. Odysseus told how the cannibal giants had murdered most of his men and sunk 11 of his 12 ships. He told how he and his crew had then sailed to the island of Circe, the enchantress, and how the beautiful witch had turned his men into pigs. He told about his journey to the mist-filled land of the dead, where he saw the ghosts of friends who had died, and the saddest of all, the ghost of his own mother. Odysseus told how his ship sailed past the sirens, the strange bird women who lured sailors to watery death with their beautiful singing. He told how his ship was forced to pass between 2 deadly creatures, the hideous 6-headed monster Scylla and the whirlpool monster Charybdis. Odysseus told how his men had disobeyed the gods and slain the cattle of the sun god, and how for this offense the gods had drowned the last of his men in a horrible storm at sea. Odysseus told how he had then sailed alone to the island of Calypso, and how the goddess had kept him prisoner for 7 long years. He told about leaving her island and clinging to a raft for 20 days and nights at sea, until he finally crawled upon the very shores where Princess Nausicaa and her handmaidens had found him. At the end of his astonishing tale, Odysseus sighed with sorrow. "I now only want to return to my family," he said. "I want to go home." All who had listened to Odysseus' story were silent with awe. At long last the king spoke. "For many years this man has been far from his native island, and now he asks only that we help him to return to his family. Tomorrow, 52 of our finest sailors will prepare a ship, and at sunset we will send him on his way home." The next day, King Alcinous's servants packed a great ship with fine clothes and gifts of gold. As the sun sank low in the sky, the king's men sacrificed an ox to Zeus, almighty ruler on Mount Olympus. "May the gods always bless your family for your great kindness and generosity," Odysseus said to the king. The ship's sailors then laid a blanket on deck for Odysseus. They urged him to lie on the blanket and take his rest as they set sail. In silence, Odysseus lay down on the blanket and closed his eyes. The crew took their places. They raised their anchor and began to row. As the ship moved through the twilight, Odysseus fell asleep. After years of struggling against the ills of war, against storms and hideous monsters, he struggled no more. The king's ship sped like a team of galloping stallions over the sea. Even falcons could not keep up with her as she moved across the purple waves. In the hour before dawn, the ship drew close to an island harbor. Bordered by steep slopes, the harbor was free of wild winds. Its waters were calm. The crew dropped anchor and leaped ashore. Odysseus did not stir from his slumber. The sailors wrapped the sleeping warrior in his blanket and gently carried him onto the sand. There they left him, sleeping peacefully in the shade of an olive tree. They placed his gifts near him on the sand: bronze cauldrons, gold plates, and richly woven garments. Then they returned to their ship and set sail. And after 20 long years, Odysseus of Ithaca was finally home. Chapter 6. When Odysseus awoke, he found himself surrounded by a mist. Through the haze, he saw strange winding paths and ghostly high cliffs. Nothing looked familiar. When he saw the gifts from the king piled near him, he fell into despair. Why did King Alcinous order his men to sail to this place, he wondered. Why have they abandoned me here? Odysseus paced up and down the beach, angry at the king for sending him to an unknown shore. When he saw a young shepherd coming toward him, he rushed to meet him. "Greetings, friend," Odysseus shouted through the mist. "I beg you not to fear me, but to tell me the truth. Where am I? What country is this?" "Sir, you must be a stranger to this region, if you do not know this island," said the shepherd. "It is known far and wide. From the glow of dawn to the gloom of twilight, it is a rugged place, not good for horses, but it grows grain and grapes. It receives plenty of rain, so it has good water and good grass for goats and cattle. Even those who have traveled from as far away as Troy know the island's name. It is Ithaca." Odysseus could not believe his ears. "Surely I would recognize my own country," he thought. He feared the shepherd might be trying to trick him, so he quickly invented a story. "Ah, yes, I thought so," he said. "I myself came here to Ithaca to escape punishment for killing a thief who tried to steal my treasure from the Trojan War." He pointed to the gleaming gifts on the sand. The shepherd smiled, and then, in the wink of an eye, the young man was transformed into a tall, striking woman with gray, glinting eyes. "Athena," breathed Odysseus. "Odysseus, you are the world's most cunning storyteller," she said. "But still you did not know me, your guardian and protector. I have come here to help you again. I did not want others to see you, so I again shrouded you in a mist. It made your surroundings look unfamiliar to you, but never fear. This is indeed your homeland." "Goddess, how do I know you are telling me the truth?" said Odysseus. "How can I know that I have really come home?" Athena waved her wand. "Look about you now, Odysseus," she said, "and you will see the olive trees with their long leaves. You will see the dusky cave where nymphs weave their sea-purple webs. You will see springs that never run dry. Behold, Ithaca." And as she said these words, the goddess dispersed the mist that surrounded them. In the bright, clear air, Odysseus saw all the things the goddess had described. Joyfully, he fell to his knees and kissed the ground. "Come," said Athena, "let us hide these treasures in the cave of the nymphs, and then we will make a plan." Together, Odysseus and Athena stowed the gold and bronze and woven clothes in the cave. Then Athena rolled a stone over the cave's entrance. When the stone was in place and the treasures were safe, Athena and Odysseus sat on the ground beneath an olive tree. There Athena told him all about the suitors who had invaded his home. "For several years Penelope fought off these evil men," she said. Finally, she promised to choose one to marry, but she never intended to do so. One of her maids reported her deceit, and the suitors raged against her. Now time is running out. She mourns for you, but does not give up hope. Odysseus fought to control his anger against those who had tormented his faithful wife. He quietly asked the goddess to help him. "Tell me what to do," he said. "Give me courage. With your help, I can fight 300 men." "You will fight them," said Athena. "But now you must tell no one who you are. Suffer all you see and hear in silence until you can take your revenge." "But might not some of my countrymen recognize me?" asked Odysseus. I will see to it that they do not, said Athena. I will disguise you as an old man. I will take the hair from your head and wrinkle your flesh and dim your eyes. I will give you rags to wear like those worn by a wretched beggar. And with these words, Athena raised her wand and passed it over Odysseus. She shriveled the smooth skin that covered his body. She took the hair from his head and the light from his eyes. She draped a ragged cloak about his shoulders and gave him a walking stick and a tattered bag. Be on your way now, the goddess said. Go to the hut of your swineherd. He is a good and honest man. Stay with him while I go to Telemachus. I will bring him home from the sea where he seeks some sign that you are still alive. Oh, goddess, why did you let my son drift in despair searching for me? Asked Odysseus. Why did you not tell him the truth? Do not fear, for I was with him for much of his journey, said Athena. And even though evildoers plot to murder him, I promise you, they will soon die instead. This is the end of chapters 5 and 6.